Oh yeah. I'll say it. Oh yeah. What's going on, people? How you doing? Greetings. Confounded, man. Sit very still. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Or not. Anyways, we're live on Rockfin, Callin, and YouTube. And we're going to talk about this and that today. Jesus. Come on, man. Work with me here. Or don't. Well, we'll just have an intermittent buzz through this show. Sorry, I won't get lost in this. It is slightly frustrating. Okay. Yep. Okay. But all right. Quickly, first order of business. And how is everyone doing? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, nice. Thank you. Starting off the show with a super chat from Obsolete Optics. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I did get after hours. Andrew bought me 5 coffees. Thank you, Andrew. And he left me a message. He said, "Hi, I've been manic depressive for a long time. Your climate show has impacted my life in a positive way." That's cool, man. Thank you. I'm glad to be part of that. Also, after years, I checked out your music, and thank you for everything. You are a good human and immortal soul because you care about this rare living world and giant galaxy. Thank you for your contribution. Love you, brother. Thank you, Andrew. That was a really amazing message. I appreciate that. And thank you all for the support of the show. Thank you. All right. Anyways, checking out the chats a little bit here. Oh, I think also tomorrow we might have a little talk with y'all might know Joseph Wood, who calls in to the show pretty regularly, has been telling me about this video from Savine Hassan. I'm not going to call her Hassan Pfeffer. That's not what it is, but it's very close. It is not Hassan Pfeffer. It is hold on, if it's here. It might not be here. Hoffenfelter or something like that. I think that's what it is. Hassenfelter. I don't have it pulled up. But anyways, she's a scientist, and she explains how the greenhouse effect works in a really good video. Instead of playing you the video, it's actually pretty complicated physics is what it is. Her name is, hold on, Hassenfelder. Sabine Hassenfelder. Anyways, the physics are pretty complicated, and we'll talk about it. We're going to have Joseph kind of explain or talk through the physics with me a little bit. That woman is cringe, says Oceanic Estate. Okay. I don't know. I think she's all right. She's kind of got that scientific, what do you want to call it? She's kind of a little bit she seems a little socially inept and kind of has that scientific, scientists sometimes are not great in front of the camera, or they're just not great communicators. And that's a problem, right? Anyways, we're gonna I see that there's a caller, and caller, if you could hold off just for a moment, because I'm not starting the show with taking calls right this second. I can take your call in a little while, though, if you'd like to wait, please. Thank you. She's definitely German. Yeah. Anyways, the physics is a little more convoluted than just heat comes in the atmosphere and is trapped in the atmosphere. Right? That's how global warming works. Judy Truitt says, "Yes, I was married to one." What? A scientist that had bad social skills? Is that what you were saying? I've known a few people like that who are incredibly intelligent, super, super intelligent people. Amazing, scientific minds. I don't know why that person was calling in. I'm glad I didn't take the call because it was just, I'm sure it was a bunch of bullshit. People try to call in right at the beginning of the show and then just leave. They're not even going to hang out and listen. They're like, all right, you didn't really care. I figured you were going to say something probably dumb. Anyways, so she explains, what is really happening with global warming. Interestingly, I'll just leave it at this. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. If you remember, there was a guy that used to follow the channel for a long time, and he ended up for a couple of years he was in the chats a lot, and he was saying that global warming was not that going to be that bad because the hotter the Earth got, the more Earth would expel the energy. Right? He was saying there's a thing that happens, and interestingly enough, that is a thing that happens. It is happening. And she explains, in this video, part of the process is the emissions in the upper atmosphere of the infrared heat or infrared radiation and the heat, happen in a way that seeks to balance the energy levels, right, of the atmosphere. I'm just saying it very, very I'm saying it very broadly, right? Anyways, but that doesn't mean so. It's interesting because this guy kept saying that, and I was like, "Are you sure about that?" And he got part of the equation correct, right? He actually was correct in the way that the upper atmosphere will emit more energy in order to seek balance with the the energy in the lower atmosphere and all that. But that's not what's happening, right? So it's actually creating part of the reason why the warming is created. It's very convoluted, but it's interesting nonetheless, and I want to talk about it. And I want to talk about it with somebody in a way so that they can help me explain it better than I can, right? So you guys are funny in the chats. You're like, nah, that's not how it works. But it is interesting on a scientific level, and but it's funny because I got into it with the guy that used to be in the chats all the time. I used to get into it with him all the time about it. I'll check that one out too, Obsolete Optics. I actually found her kind of funny in a very awkward way. She's kind of funny. Schultz, it might be the same lady. Yeah. It might be the same lady. We'll watch a little bit of the video, but we'll also just kind of talk about it more so than watch the video. But it actually goes into a little more depth around what is going on. And it might be too convoluted for a lot of people, especially the people who don't believe in, people that don't believe in climate change or climate science are going to be like, what are they? This is stupid, right? People that really like the science when they're talking about other things, right? Science is really on it. Studies are really on it, and doctors are really on it, and scientists are really on it when it comes to other subjects that you have a particular view on, right? But when it comes to climate change, you're like, oh, these scientists are all full of plap, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way, buddy, right? Like that's, I say unto thee, It doesn't work that way, buddy. You don't get to choose when you want to listen to scientists and when you don't want to listen to scientists, right? So, anyways, it's an interesting video. We'll get into it tomorrow. Anyways, Biden, I saw this morning and I was like, oh, great. Well, Biden is solving the the border crisis, not the climate crisis. Not even doing that. Not even close. Not even close. So I saw the news article and I was like, what's happening? Oh, thanks, Chelsea. I appreciate that. Border crossings in January dropped to the lowest point since February 2021. What happened in February 2021? Biden took office. So what was happening before February 2021? Trump was in office. I'm not even gonna get into how I feel about, border policy. It's not necessarily something that's huge on my radar. But yeah, I posted it kind of late, Nadia. I apologize. I thought I had posted it. I posted it earlier on my other channels, but I was like, oh, I'm going to start getting ready to do my video. And I realized, oh, I didn't post it. So sorry about that. So it has been an ongoing issue for the Biden administration, I guess, and somewhat of an embarrassment that there has been a surge in border crossings. And I'm not really even going to get into the nitty gritty of the politics of it. But here's why. Here's the reason why. So they've really tried to get. There's been a serious surge in border crossings, and they're trying to get a handle on it. And how do they get a handle on it? Well, I'll sum it up. Basically, they went back to Trump's policy on the border, and part of that policy involved, like emergency acts that were enforced during COVID. Basically, it was the Title 42, I think it was. So, right. Basically, what it was an act that enables the U.S. to just automatically deport people, like automatically, like you're out of here, right? There's no, we're not going to take you in. We're not going to help you out. You're just like, you come over. We're just going to, ship you on back to Mexico or other places, and without, we're not even going to. Obsolete, yes. Reagan's 11th term, exactly. So, I mean, and people, progressives, lefties, the compassionate ones, had an issue with Trump's border policy and the whole wall thing. And we'll build a wall and we'll keep them all out, and they got to get out of here. And basically, Biden came in, and well, for one thing, they said they said the same things that the Trump administration said. They were like, go home, go back, don't come. They actually said that publicly, but they were still taking people in, kind of processing immigrants and trying to figure out where they're going to go and were they seeking asylum and, all that stuff. But basically, what they decided was, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to automatically just deport everybody, just like Trump. So basically, Biden is reenacting Trump's policy on immigration on the southern border. And that's how that's happening. In January, U.S. Border Patrol made more than 128,000 apprehensions, down 42% from December. That's quite a big number. Anyways, the handling of the U.S.-Mexico border has been a political vulnerability for President Joe Biden, who faces criticisms from Republicans and potential impeachment proceedings of his Homeland Security Secretary. It's that serious, I guess. The White House has generally kept the issue at arm's length, but the drop in border crossings has instilled renewed confidence in administration officials who say the new measures are helping drive the decline. They're saying, though, that there's a program that provides a legal pathway to the United States as contributing to the drop in border crossings. But they're actually not. They're not telling you in this article what really is happening. The administration also continues. This is why it's happening. To rely on a Trump-era COVID restriction known as Title 42 that allows authorities to turn away certain migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border, though it could expire soon. It's going to expire in May. When apparently COVID emergency measures, like COVID is going to be supposed to be officially over in May. Maybe if they don't decide to turn that around, but apparently they've decided that in May officially, there will be no more emergency. There will be no pandemic status. We'll see. Anyways, this is not the article that I read first about this, and I think it's from Axios. I think maybe it was from Axios. And then there's there's also shooting down of high altitude object over Alaska. We won't even go into that. Sorry, hold on one second. Nadia says 3,500 a week are still dying from it. It's now over. I don't know. Is that 3,500 nationally? I don't mean to. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but 3,500 people die a week from a whole lot of things, and we don't have an emergency measures. We don't have emergency measures around it. I'm not saying don't take it seriously. I'm just saying, I'm not saying don't take it seriously or don't, if you feel you need to protect yourself against it, then, I'm just saying, I don't know that it warrants an emergency. And I'm not gonna get stuck on that right this second. 'Cause I could, here we go. Maybe this is it. So the Republicans are basically trying to take the Joe Biden administration to task over their border policy, and now they're like, oh, well, I guess we should figure this out because somebody might actually hold us accountable for what's going on. Let's see. They're saying the administration has begun to roll out a new process to allow asylum seekers to schedule an appointment at a port of entry through an app. Because of this, Customs and Border Protection has processed over 17,000 people at legal entry points along the border. The big picture, though, the new policies announced by Biden last month rely on a Trump-era policy called the Title 42, which cites public health concerns about the pandemic to allow border officials to quickly return people to Mexico without the chance of seeking asylum. The administration said they plan to continue the processes, I don't know what that means, for Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, Cubans, and Haitians, even without Title 42, but have not detailed how that would work. So the biggest part of this is that they're turning people away just immediately. And it's basically a Trump era policy. So, but they're trying to, in the other article, they were trying to make it seem like, well, they're making a path for asylum seekers to get in here, to get in here more easily, but they're actually just not allowing people in. So that's what that is about. Um, yeah, the important variable is number of hospital beds available. I don't know. Um, I don't really want to go into the COVID thing right now, but I don't want to debate the COVID thing at the moment. We can maybe do that later. Um, I'm not. I don't know anybody who's getting. I don't know very many people are getting COVID anymore. And if you do get COVID, it's like a cold. Just saying. The COVID strain that people are getting now is kind of like a cold. So I don't think you need to worry about hospital beds or anything like that. Just saying. Um, take vitamins, take care of yourself, get some exercise, do the things. Oh, I shouldn't even be saying this on YouTube, but anyways, but that generally how people can get over COVID these days. And that's like scientifically backed. So um, that is and they're pretty much all the scientists are coming out now saying like, oh yeah, all the things that we said about COVID were wrong. Oopsies. Natural immunity is actually a real thing. They're making up. They've admitted that they are fudging the numbers of who's actually there for COVID in the hospital. Blah 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 blah. And I won't say any more about it until I get off of YouTube. So, I mean, be afraid if you want. That's up to you. That's your personal choice to be afraid if you want. Yeah. That's just my thoughts on it. It's not medical advice on any level. Just not. I'm not in a space. They should have ended the emergency already. That's the space I'm in. So it doesn't even need to last till May. It's over. All right. All right. Let's keep going while the going is good. Uh, 2023's Northern Hemisphere crop losses have begun. It's all downhill from here. I mean, maybe. We've had crop losses through the last couple of years, and they're going to go up. I don't know if this is just, I don't know if this is like the beginning of the end, but it's not good. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's bad. Anyways, peach farmers have lost a peach crop in New England because the temperatures dropped actually too cold, for negative 14 Fahrenheit in their orchards. I guess they can withstand a certain amount of cold. But they're saying that the crops and the crops of their neighbors and friends who also grow peaches are all decimated. So it's not good. Weather extremes are not good for growing things, right? We actually talked about the lack of snow and the lack of like snowfall and winter weather in many parts of the Northeast or the North or the Arctic or all over the place. Yeah. So it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's most likely all downhill from here. But I'm just saying, I don't know how quickly that's going to happen. It's not good. Prognosis is not good. Prognosis is not good. You've got long COVID, Nadia. That's not good. That's not good. I don't. Yeah, what can the doctor prescribe for you to keep you from being bedridden? That I don't I don't know what that is. As far as like the newer therapeutics are, I don't know what that is. Um, but there are people that swear by, you know, swear by some naturally natural, um, more natural things that keep yourself healthy. I don't, again, the vitamins, the turmeric, the A, D's, and C's, and all that stuff. Oceanic State has you have a clue there. I think. Um, Nadia, if you read Oceanic Estates comment, there's a crossing of things going on, and it's hard to know what's going on because misinformation, or scientism is being put out along with some real science, and it's difficult to know what's going on. Very, very difficult. Um, so I'm sorry that you're going through that, and I feel badly from anybody who's going through any kind of trauma from COVID and or COVID therapies. you know, there you go. Obsolete optics. Some more. Yeah, you're gonna get better. Look, check out the Frontline. Yep, the FLCC. Check them out. They have a website that will. I would say check them out. Check out their website, the FLCC. I forget what FL. I know it's Frontline COVID Care, something like that. They have a website and they have things that can help you out. Okay. Um, Thanks in the chat, guys, for being helpful. Bill Gates says nuclear waste is not an issue. Frontline COVID critical care. Yes. Yeah, they have a good website. Um, Nuclear waste is not a reason to avoid nuclear energy, says Bill Gates. uh, it's a wonder that he's still talking publicly, that people are still listening to him publicly. I mean, that's not a wonder because he goes on places that are, probably take his money, his advertising money, and so that he can get special time, special spotlight, spotlight Bill Gates, right? So, CNBC or other places will, carry his message forth, even though nobody wants to hear from Bill Gates anymore. Nobody wants to hear from Bill Gates anymore. Nobody needs his message. Nobody wants his advice or his counsel or his money, or his influence. Nobody wants it anymore. It would be really great if Bill Gates could go away. Just go somewhere, take your money and go somewhere else. But he's still being allowed to get out there and say stuff. Anyways, the waste problem should not be a reason to not do nuclear, Gates said in an interview with the German business publication Handelsblatt, which published on Thursday. The volume of nuclear waste is very small and can be stored safely and cost effectively. Wait, hold on. Currently, in the U.S., nuclear waste is stored in dry casks, which are stainless steel canisters surrounded by concrete, because that's the only way we know how to deal with it. We actually don't know where to put it all. And he is wrong. This is misinformation from Bill Gates. So, again, this is ridiculous. I don't know. Hold on. Hold on. See if I can find this article. Well, here's an article from 2018, the U.S. is quickly running out of room for its radioactive waste. Oh, currently it's fine, it's small, but we're running out of room for our nuclear waste. I mean, there's all these articles in the U.S. about running out of room for nuclear waste. What do we used to do with nuclear waste? We used to put it in containers and dump it off the back of ships into the ocean. Do you think that was a good way to do it, Bill Gates? I mean, that's how we used to do. And we can't do that anymore. But they're doing it in Japan. So they're just dumping it into the ocean. It's fine. We've treated it. It's fine. This man is a scourge. I cannot find the article about France, though. There was a recent article about France running out of not being able to deal with their nuclear waste. They have a lot of nuclear power plants. Anyways, but there's a lot of people out there saying, I have been talking about this lately here and there. There's a lot of people that think that, nuclear is the future. It's going to be fine. We're going to do it. If only we just had more nuclear plants, or if only these pesky people would stop worrying about the nuclear thing. I don't know. Oh, did you all see that? There was a video on Twitter floating around this morning about Hitler on speed. Just videos of him literally like shaking and jerking and doing like weird things in public. He was high on speed. Like he was high on speed. Anyways, this is from Sophie Gabriel. The rise and fall of power is a pattern. Check all of human history. Humanity's safe habitat is gone forever. It's the greatest crime in terms of loss of life ever committed for the sake of money and power. So this is from Roger Hallam. What the elites do is they gain power, and for a while they're quite functional. And then because of their success, they start to degenerate. And then they become completely dysfunctional. And then people start to challenge them. And then they kill people to try and stay in power. And then they collapse. This has been going on for 10,000 years. The stage we're at in this moment is that they're being challenged and they're killing people. Right? Except this time they're killing everyone because it's a global system. Yeah. That's a true story. Yeah, we're at the stage where they're being very obvious in their attempts to censor people, tell people to be quiet. No, we don't, the newspapers, the news outlets are not functioning as a fourth estate anymore. That's just, if anybody still believes that's happening, you're, slightly delusional, or if not very largely delusional. But they're mouthpieces for the corporations that own and control the politicians. They're mouthpieces for fascism, right? So basically, that's the function of mainstream media these days. They are not giving you, sometimes they leak objective things here and there, but mostly they're just there to shape a narrative. And the people that they're trying to give you the truth are alternative journalists, on YouTube or the internet or other places, and then they are being slowly, driven away or censored or told they can't speak the truth, right? But that's all we've got right now as a fourth estate, as a holding power accountable. But they're in the process of making sure that power cannot be held accountable. I saw a really good quote from somebody saying, the powers that be have done a great job of making the traditional anti-war, anti-establishment, people turn into actual, like warmongering, war cheering, imperial cheering, cheering on imperialism and the warmongering of the state that has been, complete, right? You just had COVID, Timothy? That sucks. 10 days. That sucks. I've had COVID. It wasn't fun. It was kind of annoying, but more annoying to me. It was kind of not fun for a couple days, but then it was just annoying. I was just waiting for it to go away. But some people have a hard time with it, for sure. Anyways. Where are we at? Oh. Yeah, they're just, they're moving to the space where there's no, they're telling you we live in a democracy, and, it's becoming evident that that's barely, that's pretty untrue, right? Like, Oceanic State, blue MAGA, indeed. Blue MAGA, indeed. There are still pathways though to talk about the truth. There are still places and ways, and honestly, seriously, it's only because of alternative journalism and alternative journalists and people that are pushing back. It's only because of them that we have avoided, pretty much a total lockdown on information and a lockdown on people, because that was coming. That was coming in the last couple of years, right? That was on its way. And a lot of people just said nope, and had the ability to speak the truth and to, speak against what was going on, and to speak against, the propaganda. And we avoided a much darker path that we could have been already in. Had people just rolled over and said, okay, whatever you say, I won't listen to those. I'm not going to listen to those MAGA, Trumper, racist, fascist people out there that are, right? You know what I mean? That red-brown alliance, those lefties that sound like the fascists, right? The right-winger lefties, right? Anyways, so, thank your favorite alternative journalist today for, whoever they might be, toast them. Yeah, but I'm not talking about authoritarianism. Oceanic Estate. Authoritarianism is only right. It's not It's not left. That's the thing. I think it's confused, you know, the idea that communism takes a authoritarian hue has really confused a lot of people, right? Or socialism. I think authoritarianism only, really in reality, but just it's, every the terms have been redefined, words have been redefined, blah blah blah. Well, the CCP is also, China is very capitalist, right? They're not really communists. They're authoritarians, and they're basically fascists. They're basically fascists. Sorry for the buzz is back. So, I mean, the Nazi is National Socialist. And there wasn't really anything socialist about Nazis, right? Or the, Nazi Germany. What people call Nazis are fascists, which is authoritarian. So let's just call it what it is. Uh, Stalinist, communist Russia is just basically fascist. Communist China is just basically fascist. They're all just fascist. It's all fascist. There's no, so I think the terms have to be defined clearly, you know? But people relate, people try to stick to try to relate the socialism tag and the communist tag with basically fascism, right? These authoritarian, look what the Nazis did. Well, the Nazis were fascists. They weren't socialists. They just used the name socialist as just branding. It's just branding. They were just really good at branding, right? Oh, we call ourselves socialists, but we're actually fascists. What do you think is happening with the Democratic Party right now? They call themselves, they brand themselves as, as compassionate, right? Whatever you want to call it, lefty, caring about people, socialism, but they're just fascists. They're just right wingers with the correct branding, right? If somebody, if like you see a dude and he's all hippied out and he's got like, tie-dye shirt on and some dreadlocks, but he's, goes out and starts fights at bars and beats people up and, or maybe he beats his girlfriend up or maybe he does, right? You see some guy, but he looks, very peaceful, right? Like there's people like that. But you can't go, oh, look at how those hippies do. He's not a hippie. He's just wearing the suit of the hippie. He's just wearing a hippie suit. But he's really actually just a violent jerk, right? He's just a violent, whatever you want to call it, right? So, but it's silly to say, oh, we hate hippies because look at how how they go around beating up people. Not really. Actual, hippies don't do that. Whatever. I can go on. I could go on. But anyways, I won't. But the real compassion and or community and or communalism or communism, if you want to shorten it up, is actually a thing that is an action. It's like same with maybe the compassion of Jesus, right? Or the compassion of, religion, right? You can wear the branding of the religion. You can say, I'm a deacon in the church. I'm a pastor, but you're doing the dirty things, right? You're doing drugs or you're doing stuff to kids or then you're not, oh, how I hate those religions. Look what they all do. That's not necessarily true, right? This person is not, though he's wearing, this person, he or she might be wearing the garb of a religious person, is not a religious person, or is not not acting in the ways of in the words and the deeds and the actions of the religion, right? They're just, anyways, whatever. So let's just call, it's just silly. It's silly to say like, well, that communism was bad. I'm trying to do Jordan Peterson. If you think the Nazis were bad, how about Stalin? He killed lots of people. Doing a bad Jordan Peterson impression. Yeah, well, Stalin, you're not, well, if you thought if fascism was bad, it's kind of like saying if you thought fascism was bad, communism is worse. Well, no, they were both fascism. Jordan Peterson, he's all right. I don't hate Jordan Peterson. He's, I feel like he's trying, but he's allowed himself to come under the spell of like, well, I'm going to define communism by the actions and the deeds of somebody who is not a communist, who's actually a fascist. So you're just describing a nation that acted fascistly, but wearing the color, wearing the branding of communism. That's not communism, dude. You don't know what communism is. It's hard to get an actual view of what communism actually might look like, because every time actual communism pops up, they just stamp it right out. They just stomp on it. The fascists stomp on it with as quickly as they possibly can, because we can't possibly let people understand that there's a different way to live on the planet. I don't know. I don't know. Denver says, French and Raven's form of power describes 6 sources of leadership power: coercive, reward, legitimate, expert, referent, and informational. Each form of power, when used to influence someone, has a different impact on relationships and outcomes, some better than others. Yeah. I mean, and who knows if we can ever really have, I just completely went off on a rant, but who knows if we could ever actually have a society that reflects or embraces, a truly compassionate, communal spirit, right? Maybe it's not possible. A human, as Roger Hallam said, this is the history of humanity. People are in power, and also the history of people that have power. Power corrupts. Will we ever get to a place where the people who are supposed to be servants of the people don't become the enemies of the people? Like, are we ever going to get to that place? I don't know. Bella says, I'm an intentional communist. Yeah. I know you are. I don't know. Denver says, distance between us, mediums, filters, vicarious reality also corrupts. Judy Truitt says, some native tribes had a good systems of government. The Iroquois Federation is an example. I mean, I think I don't know. I just think there's plenty of, there are examples of maybe better times in humanity or better systems. There's probably, and there's also lots of examples of, decrepit empires. Right. But I mean, there's also the example of, democratic socialism, or a socialist impulse that earlier in the 20th century was actually quite helpful. Was quite good. Wasn't wasn't like totally perfect. Like, oh well, everything about this was totally, completely perfect. But I mean, there were some things that were actually good ideas, and we still have shreds of those good ideas, and they're still, people still like them. But that's actual socialism, as opposed to fascism wearing the socialist suit. That's totally different. I don't know, but I think the powers that be really enjoy, having everybody be confused. Right? It's. Oh, hey, William. I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I'll just say this. It's helpful. When the GOP calls, the Biden administration like wild-eyed communists, that they like mislabeling things and mischaracterizing things and making people totally and completely confused about what is what means what. That's intentional. That is totally intentional. To have anybody who aligns with the Republican Party, sitting around going, I hate them communists. I know they don't all talk that way, and so stop being mean about it. But I don't like those communists. I don't like them one bit. Well, they're not communists, dude, if you actually understood anything. But, but you're just drinking the Kool-Aid. You're just drinking the Kool-Aid on down and hope the results are good for you. All right. What's up, William? How you doing?
Kev, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Oh, out of concern for your listeners, I put a couple links in the chat, and I can briefly say they are on YouTube still. So I think I can mention them without you have a problem. Dr. Stahalt MedCram on COVID and vitamins and minerals, and
yeah,
that's in the chat. And then Dr. Mo Bean on black seed and honey. He's got a YouTube channel. Check that out. Any listener might, if you're struggling with any viral infection, including COVID. Maybe then I put in PubMed, zinc and pink ionophores. It's actually on PubMed, effective versus coronavirus. So there's PubMed journal articles, etc. Anyway, Dr. Stahalt, he had that out since March 2020, which included, things you probably know, Kevin, like zinc, pink ionophores, quercetin, vitamin C, vitamin D3, etc.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be brief. Okay, moving on. Regarding, I used to work as a abalone tender on a fishing boat on the Channel Island in Santa Barbara. Abalone is a big mollusk that has a big foot. And the guys I work for, they started having trouble. They would go down and dive, and I'd pull them back up with the air hose. The bag would be too heavy for them to swim it up, but the catch kept dwindling. And they showed me, so you want to know what the problem is? I said, what? They showed me on the map, on the Channel Island map. You see this section right here? That's where they dumped the nuclear waste barrels off the back of the boats.
You're right. Right.
It was driving that abalone fish. Withered foot is what the abalone were getting from that. Driving it right in. Those guys lost their boats, most of them. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Then another thing, when I worked in California in construction, I worked my way up from labor to being an equipment operator. We had, guys coming with fake papers all the time. The foreman, there was like a pipeline. They all knew, all the American companies, this is a big rule because they even reported to the labor panel, we don't have any field workers, the labor office. It's the American companies that are profiteering off of having undocumented workers.
Oh, of course.
Wake up, no Mexican, Guatemalan, Chinese person never took your job. It was given away by a U.S. corporatist for maximizing profit at your expense.
Yeah, I find, I mean, I'll just say it as briefly as I can. I think the immigration debate is just so dumb. Like I that's why I don't really pay attention to it, because I think it's just they want people to come in. They want people to be able to like work for less than, they want unions to they want people to not have unions. They want
Right.
workers to not have power.
Mm-hmm.
They want them to be undermined. And right, they can either move a factory overseas, or they can allow people to come in, and they do,
Mm-hmm.
totally on purpose. They allow people to come in. And Republicans and Democrats, they both, they both don't care. They want them to come in order to, be able to undermine, labor laws and, right, and workers' power and whatever. They don't have any problem with this at all. So I find the debate to be nonsense. I can't even listen to it, because I'm just like, this whole debate is just a farce. It's just a complete farce, because they like people coming in and working for less than minimum wage. They have no problem with it.
Oh,
And they
listen,
they encourage it. They probably are like, yeah, come on in. And Democrats have in the past, so like, come on in. Do you ever remember there's a quote? There were a few quotes floating around from like Democratic, I think Obama was in one of them, saying like, well, we can get illegal, legal immigrants, like they can still come and vote, and they can vote for us. We're fine with that. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for the argument that like, oh well, people can come over and like get a whole bunch of free stuff from the government, right? And they actually encourage that, because they encouraged it because it's true. It's absolutely true. California just approved Medi-Cal for all illegal immigrants, but not the people that live here can't get free medical care. But just like 3 months ago, they were like, "Oh well, we're extending Medi-Cal to people who are here illegally, undocumented, or whatever, however you want to say it." I'm like, that's cool. Like, I'm not against people getting free health care, but it's like, why are the people that live here and pay taxes here and have been here for generations, even people from South America, Mexico, etc., who have been here for generations, why is it they cannot get free medical care? But if you can make it across the border and get in here, you can get free medical care. I was told that at a hospital when I was trying to get medical care and I was trying to apply for Medicare, right? And they were like, yeah, people can just come over here and just get free ass. The lady that was working behind the counter was like, yep, we give people free health care every day, but if you actually are from here, you don't get any. It's just, it's crazy. It's like, so they're full of shit. They're just all full of shit. The whole immigration thing is just full of shit. Republicans and Democrats alike, they're just full of it. They don't fucking care. They don't effing care. And they actually, whatever. It's helpful for them.
The tools of the establishment. You have righteous indignation. It's basically whatever maximize profit at all costs.
Right.
That's it. And so they entice the workers to come over. They line them up. Hey, Trump studied the Polish Brigade. Trump Towers. Trump workers who sued him. His hotel workers, maintenance workers.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I mean, he's part of it too.
Oh yeah.
They're all in on the game. It's
Yes.
the game is, undermine the workers, maximize profit, and this whole thing about we care about illegal immigration. No, they don't. They do not. They are liars. And so like I'm just so frustrated by the conversation about it, or by the implication that somebody cares about it. It's just, I mean, pretty much anything that they act like they care about in Congress is like, oh really? Are you sure? Are you sure you're really worried about this? I don't think you are. Hey man, I gotta let you go because I gotta run.
Okay, bro.
I gotta sign off. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
All right, guys, we got off on all kinds of stuff today, but and man, I hope I didn't make anybody mad. I did get a tip on Rockfin from Basil. Thank you, Basil. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yes, extra bolo. People who think Joe Biden is a communist are like, I mean, but it works because they just appeal to people who are not paying attention, right? They appeal to the people who are not super well informed on what's happening politically and don't care to be well informed, and they have things. It's fine, whatever. People have lives to live, and you got things to do, and you got to get to work, and you got to do the things, and you don't have time to pay attention to the news. I get it, but it's incumbent upon you as a citizen and or a person in the world to be aware of like what the wool that's being pulled over your eyes. Anyways, all right, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate y'all, and I will see you all tomorrow at the regular time. Will I see you tomorrow? There's a chance that I might not be doing a show tomorrow. Just a chance, but I most likely will be here. But if I don't, you know what? Scratch that. I totally forgot. Whoops. I'm doing a thing with Joseph Wood tomorrow at 12 p.m. Joseph Wood is going to come on, and we're going to talk about this article. Sorry, excuse me, blanking out. I said in the beginning of the show that we were going to do a show tomorrow. With Joseph. So we will talk with Joseph about what's actually going on. The more in-depth physics about what's going on with global warming. All right, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate you all, and we will see you tomorrow.